asked me this morning to get up here and talk to you a little bit about why I like to be a part of kids ministry. So here we go. I've always loved working with kids. As a young child, I wanted a sibling. I wanted a little sibling. I have big siblings. I wanted a little one that I could boss around and teach and tell what to do. But I never got that. So I got the next best thing. When I was 12 years old, I met a friend at church who was the oldest of 7. So I spent a lot of time at her house because I just loved being around younger kids. I spent a lot of time learning to babysit and bossing her siblings around and learning what they like to do. And just, I've always just been fascinated by children. I started teaching dance to little toddlers when I was 15, and since then I've always worked with kids in some capacity. Why do I enjoy being around kids? There's something just so pure and beautiful when you talk to a child. Not only do we have so much to teach them, but they're constantly teaching me. I'm just thinking about our kids in our church. We have a little one that I just watched back there as he puts together toys and takes them apart and just is so fascinated by just how a little puzzle piece goes together. And I look at these little girls doing their amazing drawings and just seeing their creativity. And I love hearing their questions they have and just their stories they tell. One of the most powerful verses in the Bible to me is in Matthew 18. Matthew 18:1 says, "At that time the disciples came to Jesus and asked, 'Who then is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?' He called a little child to him and placed the child among them, and he said, 'Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever takes the lowly position of this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven, and whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me.'" Do you know that that same statement is repeated in Mark 10:15 and again in Luke 18:15 through 17? I'm not a theologian, but I did take a biblical studies class, and they made a big deal about if it repeats itself a lot in the Bible, you better pay attention. It's important. So I'm going to read it one more time, just so you can listen. "At that time, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, 'Who then is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?' He called a little child to him, placed the child among them, and he said, 'Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever takes the lowly position of this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven, and whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me.'" I'm reminded of what my oldest daughter, Charlotte, said before Christmas. We were sitting in the car and talking about Christmas plans, and she said, "I'm so glad we have Katie." She said, "She keeps Christmas alive." Little kids just know how to keep the magic and the joy and the beauty of life. We can see so much through their eyes. And then one more example of just how awesome kids are. I was in the car the night of that big windstorm, and it was super scary. I ended up being in there right as all the wind was going, the trees were coming down. Everywhere we turned, I had Katie and Charlotte in the car, and every street we turned down, there were either downed power lines or downed trees, and we couldn't get anywhere. And I was just really freaked out. I pulled into a parking lot and was trying to figure out what to do with these girls. Should I just stay here? Should I try to find somewhere to go? And Katie goes, "Mom, we should pray." And I was just like, yeah, of course, we should pray. Instead of freaking out, I should take some time to pray. So I just see kids in this world with that they have such a purity and joy. We can learn so much from them, and I encourage you all to spend some time with these little ones. They're pretty darn amazing. Thank you.